How you doing? My name is Len David Hart, and this is a YouTube channel I have. It has construction stuff on it, and it has some videos that I made in the past that talked about some religious things. I don't want to say religious. I'm a religious person, but years ago I used to listen to a radio station, and like most radio stations, it was pretty good, but then it went bad. You know, the everything on it just got worse and worse and worse. They were pretty close to truth, and then like any other thing that's close to truth, it doesn't usually come closer. It usually goes further away. It's only the person or an individual who comes closer and closer and closer to truth, and then they realize that God is revealing Himself to them and in them, and how already has done, and they are just becoming more and more aware that God has revealed Himself to them. Anyway, on this station they used to have, they had a prayer time, and they would have prayers for people who would call in, and they had an aunt or an uncle passed away, or they had a diagnosis of cancer, or, all kinds of things they would pray about, all kinds of things and every kind of thing. And it seemed like the prayer requests were so down to earth that that the people were really sharing their heart, that who would call in, and who would make these prayer requests. They weren't ashamed at all. Anyway, there was one guy on the prayer time, which I really thought had a real grasp on salvation, and which is rare these days. It's hard to find someone who truly has a grasp on what salvation really is. Salvation from God, salvation is of the Lord. The Bible says in Psalm chapter 9, I believe it is. It says salvation is of the Lord. And this guy, one day, he was very, very clear. Everything he said was very clear about it, and it made sense, and it resonated with what if you were a child of God, what he was saying would resonate with what you were saying, and to hear him speak would put me at ease instantly, because I knew the guy knew what he was talking about. Anyway, let me cut through all this other talk. This is leading up to something, but the one day the guy got talking about Adam and Eve, and he was saying that Eve ate the fruit. Right? She ate the fruit. She messed up. She ate the fruit, and Adam ate the fruit too. And he basically said that Adam didn't eat it because he was sinful. He ate it because he loved his wife so much, and he knew that there was going to be trouble for her. So he got in the mix, so to speak, with her. And that's something that I never really thought about. But I think it's very, very true. In other words, Adam is a picture of Jesus Christ, and Eve is a picture of His bride. So when Eve getting in trouble with sin, Adam got in trouble with sin too, and then Adam had to deal with God. So Adam had to suffer, but Adam was in it with her, if that makes sense. In other words, this is aside from that. This is something I want to also talk about. I want to remove myself from that conversation just for a minute. Years ago, before that, years and years ago, I heard another guy say, Adam could have said to Eve, "Put it down, Eve." And this was another guy. This isn't one the guy I was talking about on the prayer request show. This was another guy. He could have said, "Put it down, Eve," and I'm going to add this, or he could have said, he could have let Eve eat it and not ate it himself, and say, "Hey, you got to deal with your consequences now." But no, that's not what he did. He ate the fruit too. So he didn't get some kind of cheap thrill eating the fruit too, or sinning against God. He ate it knowing full well that he was going to get in trouble with her. And that's what Jesus Christ does for His for His bride. He gets in trouble. He's in trouble with them, and he takes the blunt, or he takes the punishment for the sin. So that's just something to think about. Next time you think about Adam and Eve, don't think that Adam just jumped in there and sinned and, oh, I'm going to eat it too since she ate it or whatever, or, you know, some kind of cheap thrill. But think about it as he ate it because he loved her and because he wasn't going to let her go through that alone. So he had to do something. And so he stepped in. He stepped in and he did something. All right, well, that's just my little talk about Adam and Eve. If I think of anything more about that story, I'll certainly put it up on a video. But I think this channel is going to go more towards what the Bible says, not what the churches preach. I've talked about the churches in another video. I could go on and on about the churches and how Proverbs basically is the first 10 chapters is kind of replete, if I can say that word. It's about the dangers of the churches, and it talks about her as a church. And so anyway, I won't get into all that. I just wanted to talk about Adam and Eve, and I hope you enjoyed this video. My name is Len David Hart.